Hey maths fans, logarithms base 10. For this one, we need to think about powers of 10. You need to be comfortable with positive and negative powers of 10, and then hopefully you'll be able to see some of the links and spot the patterns. So, we should know that 10 to the power 4 means 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, and is 10,000. Going down, 10 cubed is 1,000, 10 squared is 100, 10 to the power 1 is 10, anything to the power 0 is 1. So 10 to the power 0 is 1. Then 10 to the power negative 1 is 1 over 10, or 0.1. We could write that as 1 over 10. 10 to the power minus 2 is 1 over 10 squared, or 0.01. 10 to the power minus 3 is 1 over 10 cubed, or 0.001. So when we look at the logs of that, log is asking the question, what power of 10 gives me 10,000? If I read that kind of in my head, I'm saying log 10,000 means what power of 10 gives me 10,000? Well, 10 to the power of 4. Similarly down here, what power of 10 gives me 0.1? That's negative 1. So hopefully you can see all the relationships here and understand that. You'll notice that it's not written as log with a little 10 there. If it's base 10, we don't need to write that 10. We can assume they mean base 10. It's the most commonly used. So on your calculator, if you just type log, it's dealing with base 10. It's saying 10 to the power something, unless you see some different base written here. Okay, so just assume it means base 10 if nothing else is written. Let's look at some examples of manipulating, simplifying base 10 logarithms. So, log base 10 of 10 to the power 7, well, log is saying what power of 10 gives me 10 to the power 7? 10 to the power 7. So this is just 7. So anytime you see log 10, or anytime you can sort of manipulate your logarithm to have 10 to the power something, you can very quickly just sort of simplify it like that. It's a little bit of a cheating way to do it, but yeah, log of 10 to the power 7 is 7. Let's have a look at this one. We've got to consider the rules of indices, or the rules of exponents, or the rules of powers. 1,000, we can rewrite that as 10 to the power 3. Multiply that by 10 to the power of a. Well, when I multiply powers, I add them together. So this is the 10 to the power of 3 plus a. Now if I've got log of that, so I've got log 10 to the power of 3 plus a, well, think back to this one and back here. If I'm saying what power of 10 gives me 10 to the power of 3 plus a, that is just 3 plus a. So you can see we can simplify quite complicated things by trying to manipulate them into these powers of 10. Alright, we use the rules of indices. When you multiply two powers of the same base, you add them together, and then we kind of just, the log of anything 10 to the power of is just that power. Again, rules of indices. When I'm dividing powers of the same number, I subtract. So I can say this is the same as 10 to the power of 5 minus n. So if I'm doing the log of that, once again, the same rule applies here. So what power of 10 gives me 10 to the power of 5 minus n? That's just 5 minus n. So I've simplified it quite nicely there. From this, the answer is just 5 minus n. From this, the answer was just 3 plus a. All right, there's a couple of things to get you started on logarithms base 10.